All right, guys and gals in the Patreon, I have the privilege of having Harrison from the TaleGate podcast with me. And Harrison, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit?
Yeah, howdy, folks. It's Harrison, Florida man, from the TaleGate podcast. Normally, I'm accompanied by my cousin, Aaron, the cheesehead, but he's
He
not
is
here
not
because we're
here.
talking about Florida today. So this is my time. This is
Nice.
I got my Orlando City Soccer Club shirt, got my Gator colors right here,
Awesome.
doing Florida,
I love it. I love it.
Florida.
And are you currently in Florida now or somewhere else?
Right now, I'm actually in Burbank, California.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Crazy. All right. Cool.
we're
Cool.
hunkered down.
So we have, yeah, exactly. So we
I was
have
in Florida.
had,
I could go anywhere I want. Now I'm
well, yeah,
stuck,
different story,
stuck in
different
this
part
one
of the
bedroom
US.
apartment.
So we have had you, we're having you on. We're actually doing this. Got sometimes what I do is I do like a 2 episodes where I have the same thing because I think it gets kind of interesting. So like it's Florida Strangeness, which is totally could be anything, right? So I have
Almost
you,
everything from Florida.
yeah, I have you on for let's say part one, and then I'm also going to interview the guy from Erie, Florida, Mark Muncy, and get his spin on it, which is kind of cool. But I do have a few questions that have come our way first. First is actually more of a statement. I know Squatch says "Go Packers," so you can pass that on to Cheesehead, right?
Okay, yeah, he will be thrilled.
Pass that on, yeah.
He used to be a
Um,
Vikings fan,
oh boy.
but he's not here.
Oh,
He's not on your Patreon, so you won't hear me say that.
that's right. Well, maybe he is. Maybe he's just, no, he's not.
Sorry.
Actually, Yami has a question for you. Um,
Mm.
she says, "What is the wildest Florida man story that you have ever heard or witnessed?" And I don't really know what
All right,
Florida
I'll try to
man
think of
is.
heard, and then I'll go for witness.
Okay.
Um, I mean, like the craziest one I remember as a kid.
Hmm.
I was raised in, like, if you were to put Florida on a dartboard and you get bullseye, that's where I lived. I'm the most
Okay.
inland. It's called Polk County. It's central Florida, central inland and central,
Hmm.
you know, both ways, latitude, longitude. It's dead
Okay.
center. Uh, but it's really southern. It's like really, it's still pretty. Yeah, I guess it's southern. They used to have some roadside attractions. Now they put a Legoland there. So I guess it's growing. But anyway, when I grew up, it was a farm down the road. We lived a little street off the highway. It was mostly wilderness. Um, there was I think it was a Quickie Mart got robbed,
Oh.
and they found they had to
Oh
piece the
no.
story together because they couldn't find the guy. They found out
What?
homeboy tried
This is gonna get
to
so
escape the
wild.
cops, hide in the lake. There's a neighboring lake, so he snuck into
Oh
the water of
no.
the lake, and they definitely found his remains in an alligator. Like gators took care.
Whoa. Oh,
They
so
found
he
like his
hid in the lake and the
yeah. They found
alligator
like
ate
the
him.
money and stuff, but he tried to. And this is at night. Like
Oh
if
no.
you're in Florida,
Oh, dumb.
gators don't bother you. Like I think I've
Okay.
said before, like 0 to 1 deaths from alligators annually. But at night, that's when they hunt, and you don't see them. They could be
Ooh.
right next to you, and and they know that. So that's when you just don't get in the water. You can go night fishing, but don't swim. What
Oh my
on earth would
goodness.
get like I would never jump in a lake at night.
Wow.
Uh, One thing that is nice about them though is if you are like night fishing, you can put your light out, and they have reflective eyes like cats, so you can see them staring at you. Uh, but
Oh
they're not.
man,
They
that's
like easy
creepy.
meals. At the end of the day, they're lazy, and so yeah, he gave him one. He just tried to give the cops the slip.
Oh
He got
man, that
eaten.
is
Yeah,
horrifying.
that was in Winter
Yeah.
Haven. But then you also hear stories. I mean, there's people who have robbed liquor stores with alligators at Alligator Point. I think one person tried to trade an alligator for liquor at a store. Um, yeah, people trying to ride manatees, which I don't. I know that
Which
the
is
story
like
is
leave
a
the
man.
manatees alone, man.
Well,
Like,
manatees, so they are
right?
off the endangered species list finally, but I
Oh,
think
really?
it's a
Okay.
misdemeanor. You're looking at like definitely
Wow.
a jail time and a big old fat fine. Like it is,
Wow.
even if you touch them, you can't
Okay.
so if I get like a video of me like petting one, that's a misdemeanor.
You're done. Oh
Yeah,
man, really?
Yeah, just leave them
Wow.
alone. Like they already get
Yeah.
destroyed by boats and stuff. Actually, fun story. So I
Okay.
am married to my wife. We got married at the South Florida Museum, which has a new name now. I don't know what the
Hmm.
name anymore. But attending our wedding was the world's oldest known living manatee named Snooty.
Oh,
Yeah, he was I think
wow.
65. Um,
Oh man, 65 years old.
yeah,
That's old for anything.
yeah, he's
My
old.
goodness.
He's gone now, but he was at my wedding.
Wow. Rest in peace for
Yeah,
real.
I would say the Quickie Mart robbery turned Gator Meal is probably the craziest story I actually heard in my town.
That's a good story. That's a good story.
It's like it's funny. Someone died, so it's not funny, but it's still like, well, you knew better.
Right. Yeah,
You
it's
know?
definitely not funny, but it's like it's a
It's like,
great example, I think, though, of Florida man, which
mm,
so I'm not familiar with Florida a lot, but I'm gonna take Florida man as any person in Florida who's out of their mind crazy.
yeah,
Right? Okay.
yeah.
Got it. She also wanted me to ask you about any Disney and Star Wars stories. And this is because you used to work for Disney, right?
12 years. I over 12 years.
12 years. My
Yeah,
goodness.
yeah. It was towards the end.
Ooh,
I
buddy.
was there sparingly because I was teaching middle school history and
Yeah.
English full time. I was in grad school. I was volunteering at two museums, and then I was still part time
Oh
at Disney.
man.
So my last couple years was like I was there, but I wasn't like I was part time at
You were
like
checked out,
the
dude.
most part of times.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, you want my shift? Here it is. Like, so
Hmm.
I feel bad in that respect. But yeah, there's a lot of crazy stories. Most of them though are just rowdy guests. I mean, and there's a lot of urban legends you
Yeah.
hear that are true. A lot of them that aren't. Um,
Really?
yeah, like I mean, there's some I don't want to get too much detail, but yeah, people have died at Disney. And you
I've
hear
heard
that
of
people
those. Yep.
scattering ashes in rides like Pirates and definitely
Oh
Haunted
yeah, yeah,
Mansion.
yeah.
That's
Yep.
true. Uh, there's a lot of just weird rumors that are like easy to prove wrong to
Mm.
me. Like I know one big rumor was that at least so in Disneyland they have the Matterhorn, which I believe is a little bit
Right.
taller than the castle. So
Yep.
Tinkerbell zips between, there. But here she just goes out and she flies down at an angle. And I remember it used to be like it was people used to say that she was like an Asian man. I'm like
Wow.
you can
Okay, that's
yeah,
cool.
but the thing is like no, it's not like people can like
People
why
need jobs, dude.
well I know but like it's one of those like you can she flies pretty close to the crowd so like
Oh, I
Disney
get you.
just
Yeah, yeah.
they're not going to do that like the
Right.
lighting don't get me wrong like it's not like the lighting is perfect you're flying during a fireworks show but
Oh,
like
that's funny. Okay.
yeah no
I got you.
Tinkerbell's a girl but like things
Well,
like that are just kind of
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
that you can just as a matter of record people used to say that Walt Disney's face is on in the Haunted Mansion, one of the
Oh, that'd be
busts, but
cool.
like you can look up the actors who are in it.
Uh,
Like it's not.
did you have any wild celebrity encounters while working at Disney? I know
I
I hear that those
met.
can get pretty interesting.
Yeah, so I was in the entertainment department.
Oh,
Aaron was too. Actually, my wife was too. We're on it. So a lot of times I couldn't talk. You know,
okay.
you can't. You can't talk, especially since characters have certain voices. But so in my mute state, I met Chris Evans. I didn't know it was Chris Evans.
Whoa.
Yeah, I saw like a family
Wow.
of kids.
That's cool.
So my buddy Pluto comes running out, high fiving all the kids, and then
Right.
goes to his line. Um, and then yeah, they're like, oh yeah, the guy with the ball cap, the beard, and the glasses. Yeah, it was Chris Evans. So it's like,
Oh man.
I mean, I guess you can't point at him
Wow.
or anything, but it's like,
Right.
what?
Yeah, exactly.
I
Yeah,
also
you
I
don't want to
met
be that guy.
Baby Spice from the Spice
What?
Girls. Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Oh, okay.
Dwayne Newton. I met Toby Keith. I didn't know. There's some most of the time I didn't know it was them. I didn't know Toby Keith. I
Right,
thought he
because
was a
they're on the
wrestler.
cover. Yeah.
Well, he if you know Toby Keith, looking back, I'm like, oh, that was obviously him. But he kind of looked like a wrestler. Like he was like tall,
Oh,
tucked in
okay.
kind of a tight shirt into like jeans, had a little mullet, ball cap, glasses.
I can see that.
Um,
Yep. Yep.
but once they said it, I'm like, oh, I've seen him enough. I can put it now. But Baby Spice, I hadn't seen her in like 20 years. So
That'd be weird
all I just
though.
knew she was a mom with her family.
Right.
I don't think any other celebrities I met there. Harlem Globetrotters.
That's
And
cool.
Aaron, and a lot of Star Wars guests. There's a lot of Star Wars guests because they used to have, see, before
Mm.
Disney bought Star Wars, they had what's
Mm-hmm.
called Star Wars Weekends.
Yes.
They would have
Yep.
characters come out, and they had a show at the end every time called the Hyperspace Hoopla that just completely
Oh,
made fun of the
it's the
show.
dance thing, right? I
Yeah, I was in
loved
that show
watching those
once. I
on
was in that
YouTube.
show
You were
once.
in that show?
Yeah, it was
What
a
were you?
Thriller. Palpatine. At the very end,
No.
the Vincent Price. That
So you played the part of Palpatine
yeah,
doing the Thriller dance.
yeah. I did Luke
And
Skywalker as well.
which dance was that?
I didn't dance with him. I just did sets.
Okay.
There's a couple.
But
Some certain years they didn't
oh,
use every characters, but for the one where Darth Vader did Thriller, because he always did Michael
yeah.
Jackson. He always did Michael Jackson. I think the only exception was when he did Alien Ant Farm's cover of Michael Jackson, which is funny because the song is like Annie, Are You Okay? And they call him Annie in the prequels. So I think that was the joke.
Dude, that's got to be on your resume everywhere. Like I played Palpatine in the Star
Well,
Wars dance
Disney
off.
is weird. Yeah, Disney's weird because like the character
Yeah.
department, it's definitely fun. It's definitely interesting, but like there's not much there in terms of like merit that translates to
Right.
anything else,
real
unless I
life,
like
yeah.
winning a job at like Chuck E. Cheese or something. But
Yeah.
but even when I applied to I went out to buy a car, they're like, so tell me about Disney. I'm like,
So
just
what
give
do
me
you
my
do
keys,
here?
get out of here. But yeah, it's fun. I mean, there's stories all day. A lot of good ones, a lot of bad ones. I say
Right.
my best day was when Pluto got to meet some seeing eye dogs. It was really cute,
Oh
really
man, that would
sweet.
just have broken the hearts
It
of everyone there.
it
Like that's
was it was so
amazing.
sweet. And there was like a I guess a word that the owner could say that let the dogs
Mhm.
know that they could, because they're sentient. They're sentinel until you
Yeah.
tell them they can.
Yep.
They're off work. And so whatever they said, I don't remember the word, but there was something to indicate that the dogs were free to
Sure.
do whatever. And so they came straight up and thought that they knew Pluto, but
Hmm.
we were rolling on the ground, belly rubs for Mickey. It was good. It was fun. I have some pictures of
Uh-oh.
that somewhere. I
Mm.
wish there was an alligator character at Disney. Oh, you know what? There is. I take that back. There is. Lewis from
Can you tell
Princess
me
Bride.
what is your favorite cryptid in Florida?
I mean, easy answer is the for me, skunk ape. I mean, it's hard not to love the Florida
yeah.
skunk ape because like there's so much like cool Bigfoot lore, but like when I grew up, the story I heard in my town, and I still have the newspaper. It's still, I think, in my mom's house. But when I was in high school, I think it was 2004. There was a spotting of a skunk ape in my town, and the drawings of it were just hilarious. They were so funny. I'm like, dude, that looks like just like a hairy guy, probably on meth, who like looks really like it wasn't like "Ugh," or like running. You just see him like kind of like covering himself like this. I'm like, oh, that poor guy. Like it looks like the beams of her car just caught somebody off guard. He kind of looked like, at least in the drawings, kind of like Grover from Sesame Street if you took off his nose. Like the drawing had no nose, just
Oh,
these really
weird.
big expressive eyes and this really kind of wide mouth. We had the skunk ape on my show, and he said it wasn't a wide mouth; it was a mustache because skunk apes love um, Magnum PI.
Okay. Here one I apologize. Okay, so here's the thing. I am do you know when you have a real job and then you have your podcast and then your real job
Well, actually,
calls
no. I
you?
take that back. No, because I'm furlouged and
Oh
I've
yeah,
only
that's
done
right.
this
Yeah, sorry
podcast
about that.
when I've had
So I
free time.
apologize. I was I had to text my real job, who is calling me for who knows what, but they can wait because I'm in interviews. So screw that.
Oh
So
man, I mean, I'm
yeah,
some high praise.
yeah, right. Um, so of course you got the skunk ape. What's your number 2 cryptid then?
All right, so there are, I mean, Florida has, I think, a surprising amount of cryptids. Like the obvious ones are the skunk ape. The obvious ones are, sea serpents, like the one in Pensacola we covered in one of our shows. There is, and that one I think was also, there was a case that was on Unsolved Mysteries where these boys
Oh,
they
awesome.
disappeared. It was a guy named McCleary, a boy named McCleary. Uh, yeah, and so all the other boys died except him. You think that they would make a bigger deal about that, but it made one newspaper thing. But
Wow.
yeah, so there's sea serpents, mermaids, of course, and Florida really hams that up. There's like a bar, I think it's in one of the Keys where like you're underwater and mermaids swim by. You got the Wiki Watching mermaids. It's been,
Dude,
I think,
that's
there since the
awesome.
40s, like a roadside attraction,
Really?
and they're in a natural spring. They tell
Oh,
different
that's awesome.
shows. One's a Little Mermaid, and you can get the old. I don't know if you guys have the Molderamas. They make
Hmm.
they make little figures like this. This is, I mean, obviously a gator wrestler from, but
Oh, that
they clamp
okay.
together
Looks
and you get like a
familiar.
free little souvenir mold. They have one with the Wiki Watching mermaids, which is kind of cool.
Nice.
And even I think even SeaWorld has pearl diving mermaids. So mermaids have been around. I would say though, one cryptid that people don't know that has been spotted in Florida is unicorns.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I'm not paid to sponsor this book, but I do have the book Florida's Unexpected Wildlife, which I use a lot in my research, and I
Oh,
do have the page
interesting.
mark. So yeah, here is Sir John Hawkins claimed it. He is
Nice.
yeah. So he is Sir Francis Drake's, I think it's cousin. Um, so Sir Francis Drake's cousin, his name was Sir John Hawkins. Hawkins. Let's say it's Johns Hopkins. It's weird. That's where I went to school. Yeah. So John Hawkins claimed that he saw unicorns in Florida, which I think is actually pretty cool. Most people, when you think of unicorns, you don't think Florida.
Yeah,
There was
not
one.
high on my list of expected things to have in Florida at all.
No, but also like I mean, obviously, like John. Have you ever heard of Sir John Hawkins before? No, but Sir Francis Drake's brother. Okay, now I kind of know who that guy is. So it's still kind of a big name to
Right.
put a claim to that. Actually, Florida there's a pirate museum in St. Augustine, and they have
Hmm.
a tiny piece of Sir Francis Drake's ship.
Wow.
It's from like the
That's
1600s.
baller.
Yeah.
So
There's also a really weird Florida cryptid. I'll see if I can find it. It's in Fearsome Creatures of the Lumberwoods.
oh,
It's called the Snallygaster.
the
Snallygaster?
snallygaster
Snallygaster. Oh, dude. Yeah.
is that
Yeah.
how is that spelled? Because snallygast, I think I'm
This is with an
interested how
O.
that's spelled.
Snoligoster.
Okay, so that's interesting because there's a snallygaster, but that's I believe in Maryland, and that's like a flying creature with like octopus tentacles on its face. It's very weird, but like
I would
that's
say
totally
this is
different.
probably obviously different, but
Yeah,
still seems
definitely different.
equally bizarre. So this looks
Yeah.
like, and it's also like kind of racist in the story that, because this is the only story I've ever heard of him in. I don't know anyone who's like, oh yeah, that Snolligoster. But yeah, he looks like a kind of like an alligator, like a large gator without
Okay.
legs. He has one spike on his back and a boat propeller at the end of his tail.
Weird.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to get into why it's racist, but it's in
Right.
the Fearsome Creatures of the Lumberwoods. Pretty famous cryptid book,
Okay.
It's got a very
And that's
different rendition
about
of the Hodag
Florida.
as well. Yeah, you would. So it says
Okay.
of the Lumberwoods, which obviously is not Florida. It also says a few mountain beasts and desert beasts. They still included
Cool.
Florida swamps, so I don't know. It's
Cool.
really
All
misleading.
right.
The book
That's
title
awesome.
reminds me of like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, where they keep adding
Oh,
books to the
geez.
trilogy. So it's like the inaccurately named Hitchhiker's Trilogy, but then they made a fifth, so it's the increasingly inaccurately named Hitchhiker's Trilogy. I feel like this is
Great
the
book,
increasingly
but
inaccurately named Fearsome creatures
great
of the
book,
Neverland.
but not the best movie. I don't know. I don't know if
You
you
know,
saw the
the
movie,
cat.
but
Yeah, I saw it in theaters. I
yeah.
liked Martin Freeman as Arthur Dent. He has that kind of like pent up nervous.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
liked him. Most Def I could have. And the thing is, like, I like Sam Rockwell as well, but and Zoe
Oh,
was it
that he was
Zoe
in that, wasn't he?
Deschanel was
Yeah.
in it. Like their cast was
That's
strong.
weird.
It's just
Yeah.
I never pictured Zaphod having a head under his head. I always pictured like a two-headed
Mm-hmm.
troll kind of thing. So it was kind of weird going back and forth. I thought it was neat, but like, and the costumes are cool. They had a lot of, I think, physical animatronics
Right.
that I appreciated. But yeah, the only time I really watched it where it came in handy was when I would do a compare and contrast with the film and the book. I taught that book in eighth grade English.
Oh,
To my middle
cool. That would
schoolers.
be awesome. Yeah.
It was because anything with an accent, if you start reading it, they'll want to read it in a bad accent. So it kind of gets them into reading. And I gave them bonus points on their final if they brought a towel. So
Nice.
yeah.
Nice. When it comes to Florida, what's your top urban legend? Or do you have a favorite or two?
My top urban legend, and we covered this in mine as well, actually, kind of recently.
Okay.
The Fountain of Youth.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
Ponce de Leon had nothing to do with the Fountain of Youth. um, his name's on. He definitely. I mean, I use the term discover very loosely, but he did see, and I think he thought Florida. He called Florida the entire United States. As far as he knew, everything was. It's not
Oh,
like. So I think
interesting.
a lot of people, when you see Florida, you see a state, but there were no states back then. This guy saw. He's one of the first Europeans to ever lay eyes on it. So he said Florida, which just means I think flowery Easter of land of the flowers. He was
Mm-hmm.
speaking on behalf of all that he knew of what is now the United States. So Florida is a state to us, but I think when historically speaking, when he talks about Florida, he's talking about a whole landmass
Wow.
that extends as far as he can imagine, really. But so people always put his name with the Fountain of Youth, but I think it was like a slight. They were like the Fountain of Youth has been in folklore for forever, but there was a
Sure.
guy, and I want to say it was Columbus's son. And Ponce de Leon wasn't doing so hot. I think he was like governor of Puerto Rico or maybe one of the Bahamas. And his kind of rival, his more successful rival was Columbus's kid. So he was like, oh, yeah, man, look at him out there looking for that Fountain of Youth. Like, as a joke. There's nothing in any log we've
Oh,
ever
no.
come across that Ponce de Leon actually cared or mentioned or searched for the Fountain of Youth. So that is, I think, one of the most interesting urban legends is that association. When you go to St. Augustine, there's statues of him everywhere. I mean,
Right.
there's De Leon Springs, there's Ponce de Leon everywhere. So he didn't know or care about the Fountain of Youth. Obviously didn't find it unless,
Dude, that's wild.
you know, uh, unless he's like Saint Germain or something. We don't know. He's been around this whole time.
Oh, man. Um, any other urban legends that come to mind about from your time in Florida or anything that you
Urban legends. There's we have a gravity hill where I'm from called Spook Hill. And that one's pretty
Oh, that
cool.
sounds
Where
cool.
yeah, the legend is I don't know how this makes sense, but the legend is an Indian chief, an Indian at large. We don't
Right.
no, don't worry about
Right.
it. So that tells me it's probably not from Native Americans, but an Indian chief got in a fight with I guess this enormous gator. They
Oh.
fought and they fought and they fought to the death. How that ties into moving a car that's parked in neutral, I don't know. But you go to what looks like the end of this hill where now you would be going upward. You
Okay.
put your car in neutral and you can feel and your car moves up.
Whoa.
It's what's called a gravity hill. It's like an optical illusion.
Okay.
I still don't understand quite the legend. I don't know if it's the chief or the ghost gator who's like, let's push this car. Like that's how you're
Ghost
spending
Gator
your
from Happy
afterlife.
Gilmore. He bites off your
Yeah, but yeah,
hand
just
and then he
picture that. But
takes
like,
your car. Yeah.
geez, I'm summoned. Got to move
Oh,
this car.
Stubbs.
Make them believe. Like, I don't know. So that one was fun. Let's see, urban legends in Florida. A lot of ghosts. I mean, St. Augustine's the oldest permanent like European
Yeah.
city. So there's obviously it's got to be one of the most haunted places you can go. Definitely a hot spot. They also have a really cool museum called the Wolf's Museum of Mystery. I don't know
Oh,
if
that
you've
sounds
ever
cool.
watched Gravity Falls, but
Dude, yeah,
if
I
Grunkle
totally love
Stan
Gravity
opened the
Falls.
Mystery Shack in the middle of
Yeah,
St. Augustine, this is it. It's like two
really.
stores. Yeah, they have some cool stuff. It's kind of hokey. When I went, it was $5 to get in, but that $5 voucher, they did sell hot sauce that they made for $5. So you give them it came with a voucher. So
Oh, nice.
basically you
Okay.
gave them $5, they gave you hot sauce. That's probably one of the most Florida trade-offs you can
That's
do.
a
Can
that's a
I go to
good
your
deal.
museum?
All
Yeah,
right,
that'll
I'm
be
in.
one hot sauce. Yeah. But it is two stories. They have a lot of just interesting stuff in there. They have like Lizzie Borden's clutch, one of her
Oh, wow.
clutches. That's pretty interesting. They have a lot of letters to Charles Manson. I'm sure that'll be really hit or miss with the audience. I know there is a crowd. That's not my crowd, but a lot of people are into that kind of stuff. So they have a lot
Yeah, you
of
never know, man.
ritual voodoo statues, and then also interestingly enough, they have um, like you can rent it. You can rent it out and like watch horror
Oh,
movies with
cool.
your friends. There's like this big couch area with a popcorn machine, which is kind of cool. And they have the
That's like
really
the coolest
huge, I
part,
think it's
man.
a husky or maybe a sled dog. It is enormous. They call him the amazing seal dog because he like sploots his legs in the back. But he was always there. He was cute. I liked him.
Dude.
So that one's pretty cool. I'm trying to think of any other like urban legends that are like that you wouldn't have heard of. But no.
I mean, man,
The
Mystery
second I
Shack in
stop
Florida is
recording,
pretty
I'm
cool.
sure.
Um, dude, like, thanks so much for coming on. Like, this has
Yeah.
been really fun. I learned a lot about Florida that I'm gonna actually look up after this. So
Should.
that's awesome, and I hope the everyone listening in the Patreon does as well, and checks out the Tailgate podcast. Definitely. Um, can you share like what are your main ways for people
Yeah.
to keep up to date with you guys? What are
Of course.
your
Yeah.
social
So
medias and stuff?
our my social media presence is Instagram. It's at the Tailgate Podcast. So Tailgate is
Mm-hmm.
the premise is we sit on the tailgate of our truck and we interview cryptids and ghosts.
Nice.
Every other episode is a mini episode where it's just he and I in our truck chatting about stuff like the urban legends of the areas we're passing through. Sometimes there be encounter ghosts. Sometimes I don't know, UFOs. Always something crazy. But it is called Tailgate, TALE, like folktale, fairy tale. It's kind of the play on words. So we are tailgating, but it is spelled TALE. So if you look up the Tailgate podcast, that will be a sports podcast that is not ours.
Oh, snap. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
That's okay.
So TALE. So the Tailgate podcast.
Nice.
On Instagram. And then, you can write us emails if you've got any crazy stories. It's the Tailgate podcast at gmail.com.
Cool.
Yeah, man. We post almost every day. I do a lot of the artwork for the show as well. So,
I was
love to hear
wondering
from you
that. Yeah,
guys.
that's good stuff, man. That's good.
It's on my phone. I have like a little tiny app, and I just use a stylus and I like drawing on my phone.
That's awesome.
Probably a better way to do that, but
hey, man, it's if it's what's associated with the podcast, then that's what you got to do, right?
yeah,
Like
so like our logo and everything.
Exactly.
On this bad boy.
Nice. Right. Oh man, thanks so much for coming on, chatting Florida, and I think we will be in touch in the future down the road. Maybe our paths will cross, and just thanks for coming on, man.
No problem, man. Thanks for having me. Thanks anytime. Yeah. And if you ever want to talk about Wisconsin,
oh snap.
Well, if he's,
I may actually.
Sorry, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Wisconsin.
I may actually. I'll remember that. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.